So, what do all of these items or blocks in front of me have in common? We have a couple of lingering potions over here, we have a statue, we have some blocks, a pressure plate, and some stairs. Well, we will get back to that, I promise. But first, I need to find an ancient city explorer map, and I need to show you something. It's all relevant because in the latest snapshot 7 of 26.3, we have had a complete overhaul in the map structures. All you need to do is locate your abandoned camps, let's say a bamboo jungle, and hopefully this one will have a secret chest. It probably won't, even though they've upped the rate. No, it does not. So this one has a Pale Garden. It's a very long name, Pale Garden Abandoned Camp Map, but I don't want that one. Swamp, Bamboo, Dappled Forest. All very extensive names for maps. Okay, so there's one right here. Maybe this one will be Ancient City. Will it be that? Mine Shaft, Trial Chambers. We're gonna keep resetting this until I get it. War Motion, Woodland Mansion. There we go. Ancient City map. So this was kind of what I wanted to make a video on very briefly until I saw a few posts online that made me pivot this into something completely different, but it's all related to the Explorer maps. So what I'll do is I'll travel close enough to it. I'm probably really far away right now. Oh, I'm actually not. Leading up to it. So it should be in a mountain because ancient cities generally spawn in mountains. Looks like it's right underneath this hill. Right here. Here is our ancient city. Now I want to very quickly talk about this portal thing because I have not mentioned any of this stuff in my videos in the last several weeks. I've seen a lot of posts regarding the fourth dimension. There's a lot of hopium, to say the very least, about people seeing this thing inside the new Dungeons 2 game, and every single time they see a post about it, they think, oh, this is coming to the vanilla game, surely. Well, I have two things to say about that. For starters, yes, I do think that we are probably going to get a fourth dimension at some point, and it will be related to this portal.
The deep dark portal.
And we've never had an ancient city map ever added to the game before. This is the very first time you are able to find an ancient city through an explorer map. And so that is very promising. And in addition to this, the icon they use for the ancient city is the portal sprite. This is a map decorations file. This is the blue fire here and here. And this is the portal. It would be odd to me if Mojang were to use this as the iconic representation of the ancient city and then never do anything about it in the vanilla base game. So that is number one. However, number two, what are these things? Alright, so as I'm aware, these are mobs that are coming to Dungeons 2. You've got these sifters, apparently that's what they're called. I don't know. If this is the fourth dimension, or this is part of the fourth dimension, is this what we're meant to expect for what the biome looks like? It kind of looks like a sniffer, to be honest, that's consumed some form of psychedelia. We also have a Mattel page where this was kind of leaked. You've got a much better closer up look for it over here. It also very closely resembles Mob C, the Great Hunger, a lizard-like creature that sinks into the ground, camouflages itself, and consumes mobs and items with its huge mouth. It also has a grindstone element. I don't think this has anything to do with the sifter, but it really does look like it, right? I think it's so memey right now that it doesn't fit what this entire vibe is. But because they've just added the ancient city map, giving it way more functionality or hope for functionality in the future than it currently has, it could be close. Okay, let's come back to this now. So we have these two items, if you don't know what I'm talking about. This is the lingering potion of the Turtle Master. This is the lingering potion of fire resistance. This is the waxed weathered copper golem statue, cracked polished blackstone bricks, polished blackstone pressure plate, waxed weathered cut copper stairs, and the waxed exposed or lightly weathered cut copper stairs. All of these items and blocks represent the longest item names currently in the game. We also have the waxed weathered copper double chest that I brought up. However, this is merely a block state and I don't really think it qualifies. We also should not be talking about the wax lightly weathered cut copper stairs because that's not an actual block name. That's been changed. So I'm sorry, you have to go. I still love you, man. Let's do a quick character count. The waxed weathered cut copper stairs has 33 characters in its name. Both the polished blackstone pressure plate and the cracked polished blackstone bricks have 34 characters in its name. That has since been overtaken by the waxed weathered copper golem statue with 35 characters in its name. So these are all block names that are indeed very, very long. And they also qualify as item names because simply they are items if you hold them. However, none of which were ever longer than this one before it was changed. And also none of which are longer than these two items right here. The lingering potion of fire resistance and the lingering potion of the Turtle Master. This has 36 characters and this has 37 characters. The lingering potion of the Turtle Master is still today the longest item name in Minecraft. Now, why am I making a video about all of this while I'm stuck in a grass block? Because recently in the latest snapshot 7, addition, we have had a lot of new items introduced to the game in the form of explorer maps. The Ancient City map, unfortunately, is not anywhere close. We now have abandoned camp maps, and that alone already constitutes 18 characters, and with the space preceding that, that's 19. So every single abandoned camp map that you have already has 19 characters in its name. If you add a biome behind it, which is essentially what these maps are, they locate biomes for you, will we ever come close to dethroning the lingering potion of the Turtle Master, which has 37 characters in its name? Well, let's find out. Now, I have several explorer maps here in my saved hotbar. None of these actually come close anyway, so we're going to discard all of them. So what we're going to do, this is our regular empty chest because that's what we need. This is going to reset its container. This will add loot to it. Okay, so we now have the Birch Forest Abandoned Camp map, and we have to get every single one. And there are 8 in total. And there we go. This is the Windswept Forest Abandoned Camp map. So we now have all 8 that we need. So these maps will also allow you to find each biome. Of course, each one will also have an abandoned camp inside it. But that is not what we're here for. You might also notice that each map has a very, very long name. And funnily enough, this is one of the first things you guys noticed on stream. Is that the longest name? How long each of these names tend to be. And in addition to this, there is also a bug report for it. New map names are too long for an item name. So allow me to dissect this for you. We know that the lingering potion of the Turtle Master is the longest item name right now. Honorable mention to the ID names on these armor trims. They don't really count because the item name does not have it, but these ones do. So let's go through each one. Bamboo Jungle Abandoned Camp map has 32. Birch Forest Abandoned Camp map and Cherry Grove Abandoned Camp map have 31 characters. Dappled Forest Abandoned Camp map has 33. Flower Forest Abandoned Camp map has 32. Hell Garden Abandoned Camp map has 30. Swamp Abandoned Camp map is the shortest with 24, given it's just swamp. But the Windswept Forest Abandoned Camp map has 35 characters in its name, which means this is the longest name for the abandoned camp map items added to the game in the last snapshot, and it does not topple the lingering potion of the Turtle Master. However, there is a twist to this tale. It doesn't end here. Now, the mean character count of all of these item names is 31, which is quite respectable, and I think this actually was the longest name, or could have been the longest name, and I have proof of this. I'm gonna give myself one more item, which is the actual abandoned campsite map. This one doesn't do anything. This is your blank item where all of these ones have its data transferred over. These ones work, this one doesn't. This one is called the abandoned campsite map, where its ID is also abandoned campsite map. And so are all of these ones. For some reason, Moe decided to change the word campsite to camp, but its ID remains campsite. I don't think it's a stretch if I was to say that these items were meant to be called abandoned campsite maps, but because the item name got too long, they truncated it to call it camp map. And so to tie all of this together, we're gonna put all these items back in. If we were to add the word campsite instead of camp to all of these items, like so, all of a sudden, we have a brand new ball game. Bamboo Jungle Abandoned Campsite map, that's 36. Birch Forest, Cherry Grove, 35. Dappled Forest, 37. Flower Forest, 36. Hell Garden Abandoned Campsite map, 34. Swamp Abandoned Campsite map, 28. And the Windswept Forest Abandoned Campsite map would have 39 characters in its name, which means the Windswept Forest Abandoned Campsite map would be the longest item name in the game. But because they decided to make it camp map instead, this thing still wins, and that makes me sad. At least we still have this thing.